finding people's values and their purpose and their why. And I always find sometimes this is a difficult conversation to uncover, because sometimes people will come in and they'll say this is the problem, but it's really not the problem.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So how do you kind of like uncover like the real problem and their real values? How do you do that?
Yeah, no, that's a fantastic observation. A lot of people start with like, okay, what are your goals? Like most financial planners, that's where you get. Like you'll sit down, either they'll start throwing mutual funds your way or an insurance policy your way, or maybe they'll ask like, all right, what are your next 5-year goals? Like, again, no, if you ask someone their goals, they're probably gonna give some arbitrary answer based off like what's on top of mind or something they saw on a TV show. Like when I was a kid, I thought I wanted a private jet. I didn't want a jet. I wanted the convenience of going where I wanted to without having the hassle of like trying to figure out airports. So anyways, how do we do this? So there's 3 questions. There's a guy named George Kinder who's been doing like deep financial life planning for decades. And he's come up with these 3 questions that I take my clients through. And I send this to them as homework prior to our meeting. And I set it up. I organize it where this is a date night for the husband and wife. If you're married, this is a date night for you guys. And then we're going to review these questions together. So we walk through these 3 questions. And I guess, Brett, that first question we go through is, Brett, let's say that you had enough money to live the rest of your life. It was no longer a care or concern. You're free to do as you please. You can spend your time as you want. What do you do? What does that look like? How do you spend your time?
Are you asking me?
If you want, we can go through that, but that's the first question. And you can tell like we'll go through spouse by spouse. And I ask that, hey, while the wife is speaking, the husband, please be quiet. Let's observe. I want to hear them open up. Like I want to hear them full.
So whenever you ask that question, it's funny. There's some people, just that question alone, does that freak some people out? Like I could, that, I don't know, like to have enough money for the rest of my life. Like, does that ever freak somebody out?
Yeah, there's a lot of times it's like, I can't even fathom what that would look like.
Yeah.
But again, I encourage so I send this out as homework prior to our meeting, and I send it out I found out what's, if you had a date night at home after you put the kids down, like what's a snack that y'all have at night? And I'll provide that. And I want to facilitate that moment for them to have this conversation together. And I provide a way of like, all right, here's what this looks like. Be open, like let yourself go, just dream.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of people are so day to day, they forget like, hey, let's just pretend for a moment, just so we can explore what would be out there.
Right.
So
that's the first question. And you're really kind of searching like what's important to you. How would you spend your time? Let's go on from there. Like I would probably, I do podcasts. I love having these conversations. I do a lot of content videos. I love just impacting people, helping people just from the experiences that I've had. I'm a kingdom believer, so I love talking about that. So that's what I would do. And, obviously it starts with my first mission field, which is in my home. So
that's good. So if we had, it's quite a long conversation. If we had time, I would dig into that further with you. Then this next question gets a little bit harder. So Brett, let's say tomorrow you go to the doctor, you just go in because again, your stomach hurts or whatever. And they pull you aside and say, hey, I've got some bad news. Turns out you only have 5 to 10 years left to live. Now, we're not sure when in that time frame you're going to pass away. Now, it won't affect your lifestyle or your health between now and then. But just having that news sink in, 5 to 10 years left, how would you spend your time? What are you doing in that time left?
Yeah. For me, it's just all about relationships. So I would really pull into people that really mean a lot to me. And I would definitely spend intentional time with them, pouring into them, being available, but also, helping and say some of the lessons, especially to my kids, say, this is what I've learned. Right. And obviously in that moment, you've learned a lot, right? Because anyways, that's what I would initially do. So, and I would do some other things too, but.
Okay. Yes. We, again, just dig in. I want to see, like, we're getting this, we start off with like dreams, like, oh yeah, this would be cool. If I had infinite money, yeah, this would be a neat thing to do. Mm-hmm. Your mortality becomes real. It's like, all right, these are the things that are a little bit more important. So then the last question here is, all right, so you go into the doctor and this time they pull you inside and say, hey, Brett, I'm real sorry to tell you this. You've got 24 hours left to live. Now, the question here is not how do you spend your last day? Like we could all have beautiful answers to that. But the question is rather thinking about your mortality, the little time you have left, and what all you're going to miss out on. Who did you not get to become? What did you not get to do? Who did you not get to be? What are the things that you missed or didn't get to experience?
Yeah. I mean, that's a deeper question.
Yeah. So that when it comes down to it, that is going to expose truly what's important to you. So, I mean, oftentimes it's, man, I mean, for me personally, it's like, yeah, I think about that. That's a hard question. Like you just sit on that for a minute. Like I can't sit on that question and not tear up. It's
Right.
like, man, I never got to see my kids grow up. I didn't see them become young men. Yeah, it's so much thing. Like I didn't get to grow old with my wife. And there's peripheral things like, oh, I didn't get to build this business the way I wanted, or, you know, we didn't get to spend time in the mountains. Like we said, it's like that fades back so quickly though.
Right.
Like, my goodness, here's what's truly important to me. Okay, well, now that we've established that, like, one, yeah, let's plan for those other fun things. But like, what can we do about this right now? Like you're saying that if you weren't here, you'd want to, like you said, for 5 to 10 years, like you'd want to impart these lessons to your kids. Like, okay, that informs a lot. Like, how are you doing that now? Yeah. Are we setting yourself up to be able to do that later on? Like if you say it's important to be able to take your kids on a trip each year so you can show them culture outside of the US, like awesome. Let's budget for that. Let's make sure we're investing for that and saving and planning. But also like, if I passed away, I didn't get to pass these lessons on to my kids. Like, hey, let's start a journal, write a journal once a month saying, hey, here's something I want you to know. And I love you so much. And hey, you did this today. And one day you're going to face this. You can do it. Here's what I learned in my experience. Yeah. Like half of this is money, but half of it is like, these are the things that are important to you. Do it. And just allow your money to facilitate that in whatever way it needs to happen.
No, exactly.
So that's how it works.
Thank you so much for checking out the Brett Snodgrass channel. If you like this video, please slam on that like button. And if you really like it, then subscribe to our channel here. And remember to leave us a comment below, and I'm going to try my hardest to reply to all the comments. Thank you guys so much. This is why I do what I do. Every single week, I come out with content that focuses on success, freedom, and living out your purpose. Thank you guys so much. See you next time.